Hello everyone. We are on week 35. Isn't there? Oh, apparently not. Okay. Ooh, should I do a mission? Ooh, strange fragments. Let's see. 110, 110. 110. Oh, 50. Okay. I guess Orleus could go back to learning darkness. Seer. I guess they're fine where they are. And I should probably do leadership. Yeah, I'm gonna do leadership. Oh, that's really good. Oh, that's also. Ooh. Okay. 129 coins. The familiar sound of someone rapping on the door reaches my ears. And with a smile, I look up from my book as Raphael enters the room. Lady Rosencruz, my apologies for disturbing your research. Don't worry, you're bringing me more requests, I assume? Indeed, you received appeals from both Lady Sertowin and Harris. Okay. Oh, let's hear them. First, Lady Sertowin requests another batch of hair conditioner from you. Another one? I think back to the last bottle I synthesized. She seemed quite pleased with it, so I can't say I expected her to request more so soon. She seemed quite pleased with it, so I can't say I expected her to request more so soon. I probably read that one already. The last bottle should have lasted months. Would you like to decline then? Ooh, well, obviously I'm going to accept it. No, it's fine. Let Lady Sertowin know I'll get it done. Certainly, Lady Rosencruz. The item is due in 4 weeks. Understood. What about Harris? I must say it's unusual for him to send a request through you when he could simply come to me himself. A fond smile tugs at the corners of Raphael's mouth, one that disappears almost as soon as I notice it. I'm afraid he's being held up by his duties to Prince Orleus today. Thus, Harris asked me to bring you his request for a batch of enchanted iron bars. Iron bars? Whatever could he need them for? I'm not sure myself, however, it seemed important. Oh, yes. Alright, I'll get it done. Although the request was not made by him, Raphael lets out a relieved chuckle and bows. Thank you, Lady Rosencruz. Please deliver them in 5 weeks. Alright. I'll be sure to let Harris know. Thank you kindly, Raphael. That should be everything. Please excuse me. Oh, if you hear a cat, that's Barney. I kicked him out of my room. So, if you hear kitties in the background, that's him. I give Raphael a nod and he departs, closing the door to the study behind him. Once he is gone, I return to reading. A stack of books in my arms, I head down the path that would lead me to my study. That's when I notice a familiar voice. The figures of Prince Serin and Quill are up ahead, appearing to be engaged in conversation. I let my footsteps slow to a halt some distance away, not wanting to be a disturbance. But the words continued drifting to my ears in a quiet corridor. It is quite rare to find you wandering the hallways alone, Quill. I fail to hear a response, but I see Quill shuffling his feet and ducking his head. Perhaps used to Quill's quietness by now, Seren does not seem discouraged by the lack of reply and presses on after a moment of waiting. Are you about to depart from the palace? Quill nods, still keeping his gaze downwards while mumbling a quiet no. I can just vaguely see Seren's eyebrows pull together and the concern in his voice is blatant when he speaks again. May I inquire as to where you are headed? Perhaps I could accompany you, as I was intending to complete some tasks in town today. Finally, Quill speaks up. Due to the difference in their heights, he has to tilt his head up quite far to look at Seren. I did not read that. Okay, I'm back. Barney just opened my door and casually strolled in. Okay, where were we? This is... Nope. History, I think, right? Okay. Different height, yeah, okay. Who decides to make it easier for the child by crouching slightly with a smile. I was hoping to look for a job. Ah, would you prefer to find work and lodging in town instead of staying at an orphanage? The boy nods. There is a beat of silence before he continues hesitantly. Would that be a problem? No, of course not. You are old enough, so I see no problem with your plans to find work. In fact, I respect your decision. Do not hesitate to come to me if you need any assistance. Quill's shoulders slump in what appears to be relief, and he gives another terse nod at Seren, who purses his lips with a thoughtful expression. However, here is a proposal. Would you perhaps be interested in taking up a position in the palace? The palace? Quill's head shoots upwards, the surprise evident in his sharp movement. Seren nods in affirmation, with a smile. What would the position be? I do believe there would be a few available positions as a servant in the palace. I would have to ask Raphael to assign you to one. I'm afraid I am not quite as informed about the status of such affairs. I will do so today if you are interested in this offer. Quill lowers his head without a word for a moment, perhaps considering. Then he questions in a cautious tone once more. Would I be qualified? I am certain we will find a position suitable for you. Ooh, like success. Quill bites his lips, not looking reassured by Seren's gentle smile. The prince seems to notice Quill's lingering doubts, and a frown graces his forehead. Please do not feel obliged to accept my offer if it does not sit right with you. No, that's not it. Thank you, Your Highness. Seren lets out a small hum, clearly unconvinced. Then again, it doesn't exactly take a light magic user to detect that something's bothering Quill. Still sensing a kid's reluctance, Seren lets the issue go, but I can just barely catch the hint of a small sigh. You may take your time to consider if you are unsure about what course of action to take. The boy takes in a deep breath before letting out an audible exhale. Then he gives a courteous smile and speaks in a louder tone than before. No, there's no need. I accept the offer. Thank you for the opportunity, Your Highness. Wonderful, then. I shall make the arrangements. The two converse for another brief minute before Quill excuses himself, returning to the gardens to join the rest of the children. Once the boy leaves the vicinity, I finally step forward and make my way towards Seren. The prince stares at the corner where Quill disappeared with a slightly troubled expression. Upon hearing my footsteps, Seren turns to me with a smile. Your Highness? Good day, Lily. He takes one look at the books in my arms, and a hint of apology creeps into his eyes. Pardon me, were we in the way? No, don't worry, I should be the one to apologize for unintentionally overhearing the conversation. Oh no, it was not a private conversation by any means. If it was, I would be at fault for speaking in the middle of a hallway in any case. That's true. You need some more practice with discretion, Your Highness. I flash him a teasing smile, eliciting a small chuckle from him. You may be right. Well, perhaps you make up for your shortcomings with kindness. It was very thoughtful of you to offer Quill a job at the palace, Your Highness. It was the least I can do. Will you be extending the same offer to the other children who have no families to return to? Did the music stop? The music stopped, okay. A small sigh escapes him, his brows furrowing again. I've already found a trustworthy orphanage to house them. However, I still find myself bothered by what their futures will hold. I would like to offer them all some work, but I'm unsure if we have enough positions available. Not to mention they may not be old enough or willing to work here in the first place. Perhaps I need a different solution. Seren's frown deepens, his gaze slipping downwards to the ground. I'm reminded by the exhaustion I noticed on him these couple of weeks, and when his voice trails off, I can't help but soften mine in return. You've already done enough for the children, Your Highness. I'm sure they appreciate everything you've done. Not everything is your responsibility to take care of. Seren shakes his head, his frown not easing the slightest. I'm surprised at his display of stubbornness now that out of all times. No, Lily. It is, after all, my oversight that led to this plight of theirs. Until this event, I had not realized how much of a problem bandits and beasts remain, especially in the rural areas. During my father's reign, it was never this bad. My people are not receiving enough protection, and after this rude awakening, I do not want to fail them again. I frown. How long has it been burdening himself with these responsibilities? Perhaps it is a blessing for Eskia to have such a kind, empathetic ruler, but at this moment, all I can feel is concern for this one prince who is clearly strained to a point. Your Highness, I hesitate. Certainly I can't fault him for his sense of duty and to his subjects yet. Please accompany me to town next week. My sudden request and change of topic pull him out of whatever mood that had overcome him just now. He looks at me, surprise clearly displayed on his face. Lily? I heard that a merchant caravan will arrive in Fostra in upcoming days. If you're intending to look for work for the children, perhaps we can find something of interest by talking to the merchants. It is a lie, and I sadly apologize to the prince. My instincts tell me that Seren needs rest, an afternoon away from the palace to get rid of his fatigue and clear his mind. I know that I am overstepping my bounds, yet this person is always thinking of others before himself, so I worry for him. I almost expect Seren to decline, as polite as he always carries himself. It was unskilled lie, and as a light magic user, he could probably see it. He frowns for what feels like an eternity, but at last he smiles weakly and gives a nod. All right. Really? He probably saw through my intentions, which makes it even more unbelievable to me that he agreed. Yes. Also, I apologize for babbling away just now. I must admit that the situation of the orphans affected me too much, as they reminded me of the passing of my own parents. Let's go into town next week as you suggested. Heaving a relieved sigh, I nod. Thank you, Your Highness. No. Reaching out, Seren gently lifts my hand to his lips, placing a soft kiss onto the knuckles. That's cute. Thank you for giving me your time, my lady. I blinked, surprised at the sudden contact. It's the most intimate touch Seren has given me ever since we have met, and through it online. Alone. What? It's the most intimate touch Seren has given me ever since we have met, and through it alone, I can feel his sincere gratitude. Alas, the tension around us finally lifts. After helping me bringing the books back to my study, Seren excuses himself for the day. Grimer updated. Okay. Let's see, we got 2 more items requested. We got the conditioner and then iron. So let's go alchemy, iron, synthesize, and then conditioner, perhaps. Okay. Might as well do those first. Get those ready. And then I think we should do a mission. Spell. Birds. Like, ooh. Wait, wood. Is requirements not met? Requirements met. Oh, like those. Okay. Okay. Well, let's just see how it goes. Mission report. A village near Waymar Lake, near the capital, had reported strange fragments in the water. Since the case was not particularly high profile, and I was in the area, they sent me to investigate. Prince Seren decided to join me, which defeated the purpose of keeping everything low-key, but who was I to refuse? Upon our arrival, I noticed that the prince was strangely distracted, which was a feat in itself, given how composed he always was. I inquired about it, and he thankfully confided in me. Imagine having to grill the crown prince for information. Without taking titles into consideration, the thought of needling and such a polite person was enough to make me shudder. Social anxiety aside, Prince Seren revealed to me that he sensed a strange presence from the lake. This, I reasoned, was a result of his more instinctual affinity with wood, with it being one of only 2 of his elemental attunements. When we made our way to the lake, I discovered translucent, iridescent scales floating in the water. I was confused at first, but I remembered something that I had learned in my readings. Twice a year, a lake creature will shed scales of glimmering rainbow, bringing health and prosperity to the village around. Its name eludes me, for I remember it being similar spelling to Eldritch monstrosities. But I felt confident that the scales matched the description. I also checked the skills using water magic. Let no one speak poorly of my dependability. Charisma failed. Dang it. We made our report as usual, but for some reason the villagers did not believe me. They just kept eyeing me with suspicion. Pray tell what deception lies in my exquisite visage? What would I have to gain by spreading falsehood and pestilence in mine own country? Of course, I did not give these thoughts voice. That would have definitely made things worse. We had to leave without doing anything, as there was no problem to actually fix except my own lack of charisma. Dang it. New missions are available though. That's an interesting book. Oh, that's an interesting look you've chosen for yourself today, Your Highness. Soren looks abashed, touching his cloak with a hint of self-consciousness. An awkward laugh escapes his lips. We draw to the center of town, finding more chattering groups of people, their arms full of baskets holding food and trinkets. Well, sounding just a tad flustered, he coughs before pushing through his hesitance. It was the best I could find. I don't doubt that. I assume there aren't many articles in a crown prince's wardrobe that would be fitting for his adventure. A faint color flushes his cheeks when he catches the teasing tone in my voice. Surprisingly, they are not. I assume you are attempting to be inconspicuous. Inconspicuous. There we go. Yes. As we're going to speak to the merchants about available work. Soren, you don't have to try so hard to cover for my terrible lie at that time. I was also hoping to learn whether they have run into any trouble on the road. Are there not regular reports from the merchants? Yes, but they tend to withhold information. They want to avoid bringing too much trouble to the crown. Or at least they did when making the reports to my father. I believed I could glean more about the situation by approaching them differently about it. Hence this endeavor, I suppose. He gestures at himself with an embarrassed half-smile, and I fail to withhold a laugh. Well, Your Highness, for what you lack in dressing sense and deception skills, you make up for in benevolence and vigilance as a ruler. Actually, I should say your unusual attire looks more handsome on you in any case. If I weren't paying attention to him closely, I would have missed the blush that rose to his cheeks as he ducks his head quickly. He clears his throat, changing the subject with little subtlety. What about you, Lily? Do you have any other business to tend to? I, unfortunately, do not have any noble reasons as you do. I'm simply taking a break for once. It is a well-deserved break. You have been working extremely hard for many months. Same to you. Perhaps I'm finally setting out to fulfill one of the aims I had when joining the High Council. Soren tilts his head at me, his lips parting slightly with interest. Other goals? Traveling, trying foreign delicacies, having time to relax and enjoy myself, among many other things. I punctuate my sentence with a playful wink, causing him to laugh. Delightful aims indeed. Strangely, there is a hint of melancholy in Soren's eyes, one he has never shown to me before. Perhaps it's the sound of commonplace chattering that makes us feel less like a crown prince and his loyal subject, or perhaps it's his uncharacteristic guise. Soren looks more approachable. I find myself reaching out to hook my arm around his. Come with me. Soren stares back at me with wide eyes. For a moment I thought he'd politely pull away, but then something shifts in his eyes, and he cracks into a soft smile. Lead the way, Lily. I end about the stalls with Soren and Tao. Drawn by the aroma, our first stop has delicious-looking yet unfamiliar food on display, appearing curiosity as the stick of meatballs that are dressed in a strange sauce. Noticing my interest, the merchant begins to introduce the foreign delicacy to me in detail, attempting to sway me into making a purchase. Charisma fail? Oh. Taking the opportunity, I begin inquiry for information. Your caravan travels out to different towns and kingdoms, yes? The merchant blinks, taken aback by my sudden line of questioning, but he answers with a good-natured smile. Yes, of course, why do you ask? Is it difficult coming to Eskia? Have you encountered any problems on your journey? The merchant wrinkles his nose, a slight hint of caution crossing his face. I give him a reassuring smile, hoping to put him at ease to elicit more answers. Well, not really difficult, I guess, but there will always be challenges on the road. What kind? I am quite interested in hearing about them. It gets worse at particular times, like when the season changes. Spring. Springtime. Seren leans forward in urgency, his eyes sharp and serious as he prompts. For more information, his sudden movement draws attention, as well as causes his hair to slightly fall back into the usual style. Huh? The merchant looks at Seren, his eyes narrowing as he focuses on the latter's face. Wait a minute. Oh no. I can see the dawning recognition on the merchant's face, and dread washes over me. This isn't good. Stepping in between the two of them, I beam at the merchant and pipe up, all the while gesturing behind my back at Seren to make his escape. Don't worry about my friend. He's just very curious about these matters since he's never been out of the kingdom before. Your friend, but isn't that... Actually, I think I've decided to try some of the fried fish. Here, these coins should be enough, right? My eyes darting to Seren, who's still standing frozen next to me. I give him a light push on the shoulder while the merchant is distracted. This snaps him out of his daze, and he immediately takes a few steps backwards. Go now before it's too late. Seren gives a nod at my whisper, pressing his lips together into a thin line. He gives the food stall and busy merchant one last lingering glance before turning on his heels and slipping away. Once the prince is safely away from the area, I heave a sigh of relief, lean against the wall. The merchant soon returns with the dish I ordered, and I take my leave before he could ask about the prince. But despite the new, delicious taste of the exotic delicacy, I find myself slightly disappointed. I was supposed to be a relaxed afternoon, but by now he's probably already back in the palace.